Hey there, this is Red. It's time for another episode of Red Plays. So, I wrapped up my Rise of the Red Skull campaign and I'm over to Ant-Man. So, I'm real excited about this. So, Ant-Man came out and just looks like a really cool hero to play. I will show you one thing that I have done. So, the Ant-Man, if you haven't seen the Ant-Man card yet, I made a proxy of the big Ant-Man. And the reason for that is I'm somebody that likes to sleeve cards. I don't really like the idea of the double sleeve. And just so those who haven't seen Ant-Man yet, so the Ant-Man card is you've got Scott Lang on one side, then you've got small Ant-Man on another side, and then he unfolds into the big Ant-Man. Well, I'm not feeling, I could potentially cut it down the middle, but I'm not really grooving on that. They make side loader card sleeves, so you can get some side loader sleeves, and then it sandwiches back and forth in the two sleeves. I've also seen sleeves that I believe is made for the Transformers trading card game, which ends up being a big sleeve that goes over the whole thing. Then there's a door that's on the back side, so you would cover up this side, or if you wanted to transform over to that one, you would move it over to that side. So you would kind of that, and then you would flip it over to the big one. What I did was I took this upstairs. I have a printer where I can scan and print. So I took this, put it on there, found that the magic number was 70%. So if I reduce it by 70%, it ends up right the size to fit into a sleeve. And I make lots of proxies for other things. So when I was doing some of the custom content stuff, right, I've made a lot of those. So that's how I'm going to play. I got Ant-Man in the sleeve here, and then I got my proxy for Ant-Man, which is really it's a piece of paper, just a piece of paper in front of a magic card. So common from a previous magic. All right, so there's Ant-Man. That's Scott Lang. We got Rhino because I really like playing standard Rhino to see how heroes work. So that's where we're going to go with our Ant-Man here. So let's get this rolling. We've got Rhino out there. There's nothing really all that special about Rhino. We're standard, so we've got the standard stuff in here. We've got Bomb Scare in here. He has 14 hit points. We've got the Breakin. We can't let it get to 7. We've got Scott Lang. So he starts with 12 hit points. And then we're going to grab a hand size of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's see what kind of Ant-Man things we have here. So all sorts of new cards. So one of the things about Ant-Man is his pre-constructed deck is a leadership deck, and I'm not a big fan of leadership, but we're going to give it a go here because I'm willing to do that for Ant-Man. So let's see here. We've got Wasp, new card number 1. So she's going to cost 3, and hero response after Wasp enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy if you are giant hero form, or remove 2 threat if I'm tiny hero form. Okay, so she's looking pretty cool. Probably want to get her into play. We've got team building exercise, which exhaust exercise, play a card from your hand that shares a trait with your hero, reducing its resource cost by 1. All right, so if I was in Ant-Man form, he's Avenger, so I would get to make use of that. All right. What else do we have here? We have Giant Strength, which says it's an upgrade. So after you change to Giant form, you get +1 attack until the end of this turn. All right, so that's going to make me big. It's an upgrade, so it's not an event, so it looks like it's going to stick out there. That's kind of cool. All right, what else do we have in our repertoire of things? We have a Army of Ants, which says hero action. If you are tiny hero form, exhaust Army of Ants, deal damage to an enemy. All right. And we've got, what are these? These are Power Gloves. Attached to an Avenger ally. After attached ally attacks or thwarts, deal 1 damage to an enemy. Okay. And we have a Giant Stomp. So play only if you're in giant hero form. Deal 1 damage to each minion, 8 damage to an enemy. Holy cow. All right, so what I need to figure out is now, as Scott Lang, I've got the option to go Giant Man, which is giving me 1 thwart, 3 attack, and 3 defense. and I'm going to deal a damage to an enemy when I go there, or I can go Ant-Man. So Ant-Man says, after you change this form, remove one threat from a scheme. Well, being that that's not going to... So I could make use of the army of ants if I get Ant-Man out there, but it looks like everything's all gianty. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to giant form. All right. All right, before I do that, though, I think the thing that I want to look at is we need to figure out how we're gonna play here. So I have this giant strength that says after I change to giant form, I get +1 attack until the end of the turn, which would be kind of nice. I've got my giant stomp that does 8 damage. So I could deal a ton of damage this turn. But if I do that, I can't play the wasp. So it's either wasp or giant stomp is kind of my my choice here. If I play wasp, then I can also give her the gauntlets, I think, and then she's going to do 3. So that's going to be 3, 4. So I would do 3 a turn, plus she's going to do 2. I think that's going to be the better cost-wise thing to do as opposed to doing the giant stomp, which looks awesome, but I think we're not going to do the giant stomp. All right, so as Scott Lang, we're going to transform into Ant-Man and get huge, getting big. So it says, after you change to this form, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So we're going to do 1 to Rhino. All right, then we're going to spend 3 to bring Wasp into play. All right, when Wasp comes into play, she says, after Wasp enters play, deal 2 damage to an enemy if you are in giant hero form. All right, we're in giant hero form, so we're going to do 2 more damage to Rhino. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to give her the power gauntlets using giant stomp. So power gauntlets say attached to Avenger ally. After attached ally attacks or thwarts, deal 1 damage to an enemy. All right, so she's got some gauntlets. She's going to attack Rhino. She attacks for 2. She gets to do an extra 1 with the gauntlets, so she's attacking for 3. And then Ant-Man himself has a power of 3, so I'm going to attack for 3. So we're going to do 6 more damage. So we're going to take him from 11 down to 5. All right, then we're going to be done. I don't know how Ant-Man or how Rhino's going to deal with this huge Ant-Man out there and Wasp zapping him. Now, if I take a look down there, I've got a hand size of 4, which is a little bit painful, but we'll try to work that out there. So we got 4. We've got team building exercise, wrist gauntlets, giant man, and Moxie. So Moxie is after you change form, your hero gets +1 thwart, attack, and defense until the end of the round. All right. Giant man looks really cool. So giant man, 2 thwart, 2 attack. He gets +2 attack while he has 3 or more remaining hit points. Wow, so he would hit for 4. Oof. All right, we've got some wrist gauntlets, which only cost 1. And then if I'm in giant form, I can exhaust them, spend 2 physical to stun enemy. If I'm tiny, I can exhaust, spend 2 to confuse an enemy. That's nice to throw status cards out there. And I've got team building exercise again, which is the one where I can play, and then essentially I can use it as a 1 cost resource to reduce the cost of a thing by 1 when I share a trait. Okay, anyway, let's go on to the villain's turn. 4 cards, that's kind of rough. All right, villain's turn, we're gonna put 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino is gonna see Ant-Man out here, who's got 12 hit points. So Rhino's gonna attack and we're gonna take it. He attacks for 2. He's going to boost of none, so we're going to take 2. All right, not too bad. Then we're going to need an encounter card. So our encounter card is charge. Oh, he's getting riled up there. All right, so that's the end of Rhino's turn. And we're over to the hero turn. So what are we going to do on our turn here? We could get wrist gauntlets out there. And then if we did that, we could use 2 physical and stun him. That looks like the play of the round. So we're going to use our Moxie to get our wrist gauntlets out. And then it says, if you're in giant hero form, exhaust wrist gauntlets, spend 2 physical. We're going to stun Rhino. All right. I like how that's working. Got that big charge, so he's kind of spooling up a big attack there. Now, what I'm looking at is Wasp can attack for 2, 3, and I can attack for 3, so we can go ahead and flip Rhino. I think we might as well do it. So there's 3 there. Actually, let's do it this way. So we're going to attack for 3 here. We have Ant-Man attack for 3. It's going to knock him down to 2. And then we're going to have Wasp attack. So Wasp attacks for 2. That's going to take Rhino out. We have Rhino 2 comes into play, and we need our Breakin and Takin, and he needs 15 hit points. So 10, 2, 2, 1. Because what we're going to do here, 2, 2, 1. And we need Breakin and Takin. Here's Breakin and Takin. That's the bomb scare. That's not. There's Breakin and Takin. All right, it comes into play with 2 on it. All right, now after she attacks, her little wrist gauntlets say after attack or thwarts, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So we're going to do 1 to Rhino. Root. All right. Now, we would potentially be done, but we can still change form. And I could change form to, I think we're going to. We're going to change form to Puny Pest. So when we do that, it says, after you change to this form, remove 1 threat from a scheme. So we're going to take 1 off of, take it off the Breakin and Takin, or do we take it off of the Break-In? I think we'll take it off of the Break-In. All right, so then we're going to be done. And we're in tiny form. We've got Wasp out there, and we've got our wrist gauntlets. And this version of Ant-Man has a hand size of 5. So let's get 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we got Strength, Reinforced Suit, Call for Aid, and Moxie. So let's take a look at these cards. There's some new cards there. We've got Reinforced Suit, attached to an ally, 1 per ally, gets +2 hit points. Well, that looks just like Wasp's suit. And then we have Call for Aid. What's that do? Call for Aid, it costs 0. Discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard an Avenger ally and add that ally to my hand. Okay? Which might be good with all these resources that I've got here. That looks like it's going to make a lot of sense. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the villain's turn. So villain turn, 1 threat on the main scheme. We have Rhino, sees Ant-Man out there, he would attack, but he's stunned. And then we have 1, 2 encounter cards coming out. 1, 2. All right, so encounter card number 1 is Caught Off Guard. Discard an upgrade or support you control. I have my wrist gauntlets are going to go away. All right, encounter card number 2 is Care for Cassie. Let's see here. My choices are flipped alter ego form, and then I can remove Care for Cassie from the game, or choose and discard 1 card from your hand. You cannot change form until your next turn ends. I don't like that option. So I think I will flip to alter ego form. So we're going to flip over to Scott Lang, who says after I change to this form, heal 1 damage. So I assume that I get that when I flip. And then I exhaust him, and I remove this from the game. Okay, out of the game. I guess the other thing that I could do is I could discard a card, but then I couldn't change form. So we'll stay there. All right. So that is the end of Rhino's turn. We're over to the hero's turn. Okay, so where are we going? I think we're going to use our Moxie to put reinforced suit on Wasp. So she gets +2 hit points, so she's up to 5 at this point. All right, we're going to call for aid. So call for aid says discard cards until I discard an Avenger ally. All right, so let's see what happens here. We're going to have, well, that's our first one, is Stinger. So Stinger says, play only if your identity has the Avenger trait, does not count against your ally limit. All right. So there's Cassie. I went and cared for her. Now I've got her. Now she came to help me out. All right. That works good. Okay. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go to giant form here. So we're going to go from Scott Lang. We're going to go to Ant-Man. Or I could go to Tiny Ant-Man, which is going to take a threat off of a scheme. We could get the Breakin and Takin out of there. I think that's better than the 1 damage. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Tiny Form Ant-Man. And when we do Tiny Form Ant-Man, his response is remove 1 threat off of a scheme. After you change to this form, remove 1 threat from a scheme. So we're going to take 1 off of Breakin and Takin. All right, we're going to bring Stinger into play. And then we're going to use Stinger to take another 1 off of Breakin and Takin. And Breakin and Takin is going to go away. All right, she's got 1 on her now. All right, we're going to use Wasp to go ahead and attack. So Wasp's going to attack for 2 and then do another damage. So he's down to 11. All right, then we're going to ready up. We got Ant-Man, Stinger, and Wasp. And she's staying alive because she's got this extra bodysuit on her that gives her a total of 5 hit points. All right, we're going to draw back up to a hand size of 5. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like they want us to keep Wasp around, maybe even Stinger around. All right, so we got a first aid. Everybody should know what first aid does, should know what these do. Already seen the reinforced suit, but we've got resize. So resize says, change to your other hero form, draw a card. Okay? As a hero action. All right, so villain turn. We're going to put 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino is going to come charging. I think Ant-Man's going to take this, which is pretty scary being that I'm a tiny little ant right now. But so it looks like 6 damage. He's going to get a boost of nothing, which is great. All right, so he's just going to do 6 damage. Just 6 damage. So we're going to go to 7 damage total out of 12. Charge is going to go away. Get another encounter card. Encounter card is Stampede. Rhino attacks you. If a character is damaged by this attack, the character is stunned. All right, so I think it's time for Stinger. I went and saved her, so she's going to come save me at this point. So Rhino's going to come attack. Stinger is going to jump in front of that one and distract him. He's doing 4 damage. And he swats her out of the way, so Stinger's out for now. All right. That is the end of Rhino's turn. All right, we're over to the hero turn. So here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to use my resize, which says change to your other hero form, draw a card. So we're going to flip over to, from Ant-Man, we're going to go into giant size Ant-Man. We're huge. All right, at that point in time, I deal a damage to an enemy. So we're going to take him down to 10. And because of the resize, I get to draw a card. Oh, we've got an army of ants, which is a little bit on the disappointing side. And reinforced suit can only be 1 per ally, so I can't do more for her that way. Let's see here. we can attack for 3. So he's down to 7. 5, 7. Wasp can attack. Wasp is going to hit for 2 plus 1. She's going to hit for 3. So he's going to go from 5 down to 4. All right, and then I haven't played anything from my hand, and I haven't actually changed my form yet this round. So I think what we'll do is we're going to use our reinforced suit to play first aid. And we're going to heal up. Heal myself up, we're going to heal Wasp up. I think we're going to heal Wasp up. Now, Wasp attacked. I don't think I did her damage, so we're going to heal her up by 2. Nope. We're going to leave that on there. We're going to heal myself up by 2. I think I'm going to take another shot this turn. We will bring our army of ants out. Now, since I haven't changed form, we're going to go ahead and change from giant Ant-Man to tiny Ant-Man. When I do that, I have a response of remove a threat from a scheme. So we'll take 1 off of here. And then I can use my army of ants to deal 1 damage to an enemy. And we're going to knock Rhino down to 3. All right, now we're going to be done. I'm going to ready up. I've got 5 damage on me, so I can take a shot, probably. If he double attacks, I'm going to have to put Wasp in front of him. All right, so we're going to draw up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we have some interesting cards here. We have Swarm Tactics. So that one is a team up, Ant-Man and Wasp. Change to your other hero form, ready your hero. Ooh, that's pretty cool. All right, so I could attack, or I could thwart as Tiny Ant-Man and then flip over and attack as Big Ant-Man. All right, we also have a Giant Strength, which we saw before. And then we got a Moxie, and then we got a new one, which is Ant-Man. So this is the Hank Pym Ant-Man. 2 attack, 2 thwart, cost of 0. So he gets +1 hit point for each Pym counter on him. When Ant-Man enters play, place 1 Pym counter on him to a maximum of 4 for each resource you overpaid for Ant-Man's cost. Interesting. So I could pay up to 4, I could pay none, then he would go away right away, I imagine. Or I could pay up to 4, and he would come in with 4 health. Well, cool. Okay. We are all ready for the villain's turn. We're going to put 1 threat on the main scheme. Rhino's going to see Ant-Man out here in tiny form. He seems to like to attack Ant-Man in tiny form. So Rhino's going to come stomp on Ant-Man. He's attacking for 3. He's going to get a boost of none. So we're going to take 3. All right, and we're getting counter card. So we're at 8 out of 12. Still doing okay. Counter card is, when revealed, you are confused. So we're going to get confusion on us. All right, that's spelling the end for Rhino here. So that's the end of Rhino's turn. We're going to go to our hero turn, and we can hit him with the Army of Ants for 1. And then we can attack with Wasp for 3, and that takes Rhino out. There we go. That's our first Ant-Man victory. That went pretty well. So Ant-Man's ability to flip back and forth is really cool. I don't know that I ever went back to Scott Lang except when I was forced to by getting my obligation out there. Other than that, I mean, that worked pretty good. I'm pretty impressed by how well this deck works. Wasp and the add-ons are huge. That's a big deal. What other cards did I get that were a big deal out of that? I would have liked to have seen the Giant Stomp, but because I had Wasp out, didn't end up playing it. That would have done a ton of damage up front, but I think that was the better play in the end there because Wasp stuck around and attacked a whole bunch of times in order to drop damage on Rhino. So that was definitely the right play at the time. Army of Ants, I only got one of those out there, did a little bit of damage. Most of my damage was actually done while I was in giant form as Big Ant-Man. So I don't know, I'm really happy with this deck, but I think, I might have just got lucky this first time around. So we'll probably do another one, Ant-Man versus Rhino, and see how that works out. And then maybe take it up to Expert Rhino after that if we seem to walk through it like we're doing right now. And then I kind of like playing this way because it makes me feel good after getting crushed by Expert Rise of the Red Skull. So I'm getting my confidence back up now. This is good. Ant-Man's doing good things for my confidence. So let me know if I missed anything rule-wise. And then if you've been playing Ant-Man and you're liking him, what's your favorite Ant-Man card? I didn't get the helmet. I hear a lot of people talking about the helmet. I got those wrist gauntlets. They were pretty good. But the thing that I hear a lot about is this thing right here, which is Ant-Man's helmet, which is after you change to giant form, heal 2. After you change to tiny form, draw a card. That looks really nice. 3 is, on the higher side for an upgrade, but that is a really nice card. Holy cow. Hopefully I get to play it next round, but real happy with this so far. So let me know. You think that's the best card in the deck here in Ant-Man stuff, or Call for Aid's been working out? I were pretty happy with that. These bonuses for allies are pretty massive in a leadership deck. So I think, yeah, because leadership needed to get stronger on allies. It was something they were kind of weak on. So it's the best thing is to give them more stuff for that. Anyway, that's it for now. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching.